Hello everyone, welcome in today to the Coach KJ Carousel Dynasty. Today we're going to be doing the National Championship game, and we start that off by simulating Washington versus Notre Dame, and it looks like Notre Dame's headed to the title game with a 49-28 victory. You probably guessed that was going to happen based on thumbnail, but I still wanted to show off these games and let you guys see how they played out. And let me tell you, Tyler Buchner was a beast in this game for Notre Dame. He threw 5 touchdown passes. He did have a pick, but man, that's a good performance. Austin Estime also had 150 yards on the ground. You love to see it. Notre Dame was dominant in this one. Washington didn't have any answers, so their season's going to come to an end. As you can see, they didn't have a whole lot of success on the ground. They did, however, have a pretty good game through the air with 2 receivers surpassing the 100-yard mark, so that's pretty impressive. Our next game on the docket's Ohio State, Penn State, and it's a rematch. And this time, Ohio State knocks off Penn State 48-35. This one upsets me just because we came from Penn State prior to this season at Florida as the head coach. And if you look at the first part of the Coach KJ Dynasty, that's where we were stationed. I'm really sad to see Ohio State knock off Penn State. I really thought this might be their year. As you can see though, Drew Aller did get hurt in this game. He was 12 of 16 with 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then he went down, and that just destroyed the rest of the game for Penn State and gave Ohio State the opportunity to win it. I'm sad about it. I really wanted to see my guys at Penn State get to a title game and maybe win it. Even though it would have been with Coach Dabo Swinney as the OC, I still wanted to see him get a national title ring. I was hoping to bring it to him last season, but we fell short of our goals and we never did that. I will say on the ground, Ohio State was impressive. Our defense at Penn State was not able to stop them at all. And I still say like I'm still there. I'm not there anymore, but I root for them, like I said, maybe for a year or two. So this is the results. That brings number 4 Ohio State versus number 2 Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes in undefeated at 13-0, and Ohio State's 12-1. And we're going to take you to State Farm Stadium here. And honestly, I don't remember where this is. I think it's in Arizona where the Cardinals play, if I remember properly. And I'm pretty sure I do. But Ohio State is going to start off by kicking the ball to Notre Dame as they won the coin toss. They're going to get the ball in the second half. This is going to be a quick moving, little bit of a highlight reel type showing. I don't intend on showing off the whole game or even really much of this game. We're going to get the first offensive series for each team as Notre Dame has a pretty solid return out to the 26-yard line. And you're going to see quarterback Tyler Buchner opening it up with a completion to Lorenzo Styles for 13 yards and getting a quick first down there for Notre Dame. Neither one of these teams even made the playoffs last season, so they rebounded this year and they went back to the top of college football as you'd expect. Honestly, I'm not surprised to see 2 prestigious programs like this play for the title. The big thing that's going to change coming out of this, though, is Notre Dame's no longer going to be in the Sun Belt. They're going to move to the Pac-12 just because we can't do away with the Pac-12 in the mod. So I have no choice but to rebuild the Pac-12 as best I can. So Notre Dame's going to become a member of that conference. As you can see, Notre Dame got stopped, so they punted it away to Ohio State, and they're going to take over at 30-yard line. Not great field position, but pretty good field position for Kyle McCord and Travion Henderson. Henderson gets the carry, and he has a big old gap out to the right. He's all the way out to the 45-yard line on the first play. And then Kyle McCord throws it quick, and that pass is knocked out before they could secure it. Bringing up a 2nd and 10, and they send a guy in motion, and they hand it off to him. And honestly, he didn't really have anywhere to go. He ended up picking up 3. That's a pretty short gain, so it's now a big 3rd and 7 for Ohio State. And Kyle McCord misfires. He starts the day 0 of 2. And Ohio State, of course, is going to punt it back to Notre Dame. We'll probably jump in the simming now right after this, and you can see that's into the end zone, so Notre Dame will have pretty good field position. Now, into our simming, like I said, let's see if anybody can answer and start to pull away in this one. So far in the first quarter, nothing happens until Ohio State scores to end it, making it 7-0. Notre Dame answers quick, though, tying it up at 7, and then Ohio State gets a field goal, making it a 10-7 game. With just under 2 minutes left, though, they go up 17-7, and then Notre Dame answered, making it 17-14 at halftime. Now, Ohio State starts with the ball in the second half, and they score quick, making it 24-14, and then a lot of scoring happens, and it's 34-21 here late in the third quarter, and that's going to be your score entering the fourth. This game's a little bit out of hand as Ohio State goes up 41-21 with 9 minutes left. We're going to go possession by possession now. Let's see what happens. Notre Dame does answer. They get a field goal, making it 41-24. However, Ohio State gets a touchdown, making it 48-24. This game's over with 3 minutes left, but we're going to jump in and let's see if Notre Dame can answer and try to somehow get back into this game as Buchner finds Payne underneath. That was 4th down. They didn't convert it. That's a big mistake right there. Ohio State now is just going to run out the clock, and it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. TreVeyon Henderson getting a carry here. He gets the edge and gets a 1st down. He should have went down in bounds instead of letting himself get pushed out of bounds there, but it's okay. Ohio State's still draining the clock, and they give the ball again right back to Henderson. He might get another 1st down, and that's exactly what he does. But again, he goes out of bounds. He needs to quit doing that. Be smarter there. Henderson gets another carry here, and he cuts that up inside for a 5-yard carry. Now Ohio State's just running the clock. There's only 58 seconds left, and it looks like this game's a wrap. Ohio State's definitely going to end up winning the title, as this is the final play of the game, I would say right here. TreVeyon Henderson gets a 1st down, but that should be a wrap in this one. Here from State Farm Stadium, Ohio State's going to be your national champion. I honestly wouldn't have predicted this one coming into the season. I thought there was a chance that Penn State could run the gauntlet and be able to get to the national title game and win it. And of course, after Alabama won it last year, you still have to think they're capable of doing it. I mean, you got to give some respect to Florida State last year. They were in the playoffs. They didn't even make the playoffs this time. And Washington's been in the playoffs back-to-back, but they were bounced in the 1st round both times. It was a pretty impressive day for Ohio State, though, and Coach Ryan Day gets a national title. TreVeyon Henderson definitely deserved the player of the game in this one. And honestly, it was a good season, and I'm pretty happy with how it went overall. I'm excited for the offseason, though. We're going to go through stats, though, for this game, and then we're also going to look at stats for the season as a whole, just that way we can show it off. And that's going to wrap up year 1 with Florida. We're going to go from there into the offseason and get ready for year 2, and I'm super excited for it. Looking at stats here, this game was pretty close if you look at the 1st downs. However, total offense leaned Ohio State, as you'd expect. Turnovers, though, Ohio State actually had one, but it didn't cost them at all. Time of possession leaned Ohio State. Penalties, Ohio State won that battle. Austin Estime was pretty good on the ground with 5.7 yards a carry. Through the air, they were pretty good. I mean, nobody really stood out. Modster probably had the best day. And then on defense, I can't pronounce that name, had a lot of tackles. You got to give him a ton of credit for that. They also had a pretty good amount of guys, 5 of them with TFLs. They had a sack for Rubio, and they got an INT by Jaden Mickey. However, the winner of this game is Kyle McCord in Ohio State. He didn't really have a good day. He didn't throw a touchdown. He had a turnover. On the ground, though, TreVeyon Henderson had 38 carries for 185 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's berserk, man. That's absolutely absurd. Ballard also had 100 yards receiving, even though the offense definitely ran through TreVeyon Henderson. Defensively, Blunt had a good day with 4 TFLs. He also added in a sack along with Simon and Styles, and then they didn't get any interceptions. Ohio State definitely earned this win, and we're taking a look at the final standings here. You can see 48-24 victory at Ohio State. They are your national champion this year. I'm a little bit disappointed to see them win it, as I was pulling for Penn State, but they deserved it, and they had a great team this season. Now, the South Carolina-East Carolina game was supposed to be a play-up game for ECU. The problem is they're going to automatically go to the Pac-12 to help replenish the 4 teams that moved to the Big 12, the corner schools as they call them. Looking at our stats now, 18 touchdowns to 10 interceptions for Jack Garola. That's an okay season, not bad from that perspective. He only had 186.4 yards per game. He did get knocked out of a bunch of games though. On the ground, Montrell Johnson was okay, so was ETN. They weren't great. And then Quantel Johnson averaged 5.4 yards a carry, so we have a little bit of interest in seeing how that goes going forward. Malik Mega led us through the air with 732 yards on 47 receptions, and Harrison Walsh III ended up leading us with 6 touchdowns through the air, but we also had 5 for Malik Mega as well. It was a pretty darn good year through the air. I'd like to see some improvement, but overall I can't really complain. Looking at TFLs, we had some impressive numbers there. Sacks, we had both Sapp and Boone go over 10. 11 for Sapp, 10 for Boone. I wouldn't be shocked if we lose both of them, or at least one of them, to the draft. Jordan Young led us with 4 INTs. That's pretty good. Deflections was Miguel Mitchell, our strong safety. Hopefully we have him back next season. We had a handful of forced fumbles with 4. Nothing too crazy. Pretty much every one of them players is leaving. And then safeties and punts or kicks, I don't think we had any this year. Looking at touchdowns, we had 2, one for Jalen Kimber, 1 for Jordan Young. Those plays always matter when it comes to winning games. Now we're going to look at stats from around the nation as a whole. I'm not going to really narrate this part. I'm going to take this time here to talk to you a little bit about the plans, how we're going to go about realignment and things like that. So my plans are, we are going to get through another season here and get our first draft class into our Madden franchise. I haven't announced the team yet. I plan on doing that. this hurricane that we're having here in Florida show up is kind of throwing me off a little bit here. And then we have a couple trips also planned coming up that's going to throw me off. So I might be a little behind in content compared to where I thought I would be. That's a little disappointing, and I'm sorry about that. So if you see a bit of a slowdown, that's why. Don't worry, I'm not quitting YouTube. Just have a busy month of September and end of August. We had a trip last weekend. I have a 5-day cruise coming up here at the beginning of September, and then I have another long weekend where we're going out of town. We're going up to New York State, so I'm going to be very busy. So content may be a tad bit slow. I don't plan on it stopping, and I'm going to work really hard to try to get ahead, so that way I can have them uploaded and just ready to go out, and then it won't affect me at all. We'll see though. I'm going to do the best I can. I was intending on taking this long weekend that we had coming up to be able to create some more content, but with this hurricane, my work's being a pain in the butt. I don't know how many days are going to be affected of my vacation that I was supposed to have, so that could cause me, or it is going to cause me to lose some time as far as getting ahead on recordings like I expected. And honestly, I do this all for you guys, so I really hate that I'm going to cause a delay and slow the series down and hold you guys back a little bit. I'm also going to end up holding back our Madden 24 franchise series a little bit more than what I expected, I think, as well. But if we get into the regular season before I start it, I will force wins and losses in order to match up where we are in real life in the regular season when my franchise kicks off. I don't love doing that, but I think that's the best way to go about it, so that's probably what I'll do if I get into that situation. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm just a little concerned. Timeline's getting a little bit tight right now, and this hurricane and all that's messing up a lot of plans that I had coming up for you guys. Now, on to some changes coming to our Coach KJ Carousel Dynasty. With the Pac-12 basically dying in real life, I can't replicate that in the game, so I cannot move Washington and Oregon to the Big Ten. I just physically can't do it. So they're going to stay in the Pac-12 here, along with Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State. But I'm going to add 6 teams to the conference as well in order to make it to where it's a full 12-team league. Now, we already have San Diego State and Boise State, so that's 2. I'm going to add Notre Dame, that's 3. We're going to add ECU, that's 4. We're going to add Northern Illinois, who finished in 2nd this year. That's 5. And number 6 is going to be last year's winner, Tulane. So that's going to make up the new look Pac-12. Now, in the future, going forward, what's going to end up happening is instead of fighting up into a random conference, teams are going to fight up to get to the Pac-12. And then that's where they're going to reach their Power 5 status. So that's going to be my new idea here and how we're going to move forward. I also think that we're going to end up changing to an 18 playoff. I probably won't do it for the next season, but I think I'll do it for the season after that. So that way, each of the Power 5 teams get into the playoffs, whoever wins the conference, and then beyond that, it's 3 wildcard teams getting in. But that's it for us. I'll see you next season. This is LDJ11. Please like and subscribe. I will be back with more of the Coach KJ Carousel Dynasty soon. Next up's the off season. Have a great day, and I'm out.
And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic, believe